That's a great question. What are responsible AI toys? Well, when we gave the Smart Toy Awards, what we did was we measured them against various criteria and first principles that are set out in the AI for Children toolkit that we produced in 2022. So those include first principles, fairness, inclusivity, responsibility, safety, and transparency. And, some of the winning toys really highlighted those criteria: data privacy of smart toys, cybersecurity, safety standards, bias and discrimination, explainability and transparency, and those ethical considerations in how you wisely use AI with children. So just to give you a few examples of the winners from 2022, the category for most innovative was awarded to Vanguard Industries, Inc. They're a company out of Japan making a toy for 15-plus-year-olds, and that was a toy called Moflin, M-O-F-L-I-N. In the creative play category, that was awarded to a company called Icon Corp, again from Japan. This, however, is for a toy for 7-month-plus-old children, and it's called Kumita. The Smart Companion toy went to a company called Mishka AI. It was a smart teddy, and it was for 2 to 5-year-olds, and that's a company based out of the USA. The educational toy was Digijin, D-I-D-I-J-I-N, out of China for children 6 to 10, and called Carbo. And then there are just 2 others in the robotics section: a company called Avishkar out of India produced Avishkar Pro Robotics Kit for children aged 10 to 15. And in the learned code section, Kai Education out of New Zealand produced KaiBot. So I hope you have an opportunity to go and look at some of those toys and really drill down and see, what it is that they show as great examples of toys where developers are really thinking about how children should be interacting responsibly with AI. That's a really good question. And yes, I agree. It's really hard to think of a way in which you would responsibly use deep fakes. And I think that at the moment, there are a number of uses of artificial intelligence that do threaten the very fabric of our democracy. And really, we do need to think about probably pressing pause. And I know that that's one of those things that, those of us who think about responsible artificial intelligence really talk about. And I know that it probably is a pipe dream. But nevertheless, if we don't ever talk about pressing pause, pause will never be pressed. So I do think that we need to come together as a community and really talk about some of these things that can lead to the destabilization of not only our own democracy, but democracies around the world, can lead to us as humans no longer being able to trust what we see or hear. And if you think about it, are we sufficiently evolved not to use those core senses for everything that we think about? And if we're not, should we be allowing these technologies to move forward? Yeah, absolutely. So a great example is this morning I was talking to a developer from Latin America. And this developer was saying that they were using to create a teaching assistant, GPT 3. And I asked her questions about how she was doing that, given that there's not a lot of Spanish language literature incorporated in those models, and also whether she knew that every time she was using it, she was actually putting back training material into this. And one of the surprising things is that she didn't know that. And so I think we need to have quite a lot more education about how these tools are being developed and are redeveloping themselves all the time. To that particular point, if we think about where the data is that has been used to train these models, we can see that it is generally the United States or a bit of Europe. So, and Europe's probably more represented in terms of literature, for example, because they've been producing literature longer. But who is it who's actually who produced that body of work? Mainly white guys. And so we have to be really careful, because if we're in this feedback loop of AI generating content from that base of data, and then we create content ourselves around that, we're simply continuing the unvirtuous cycle, in my view. Thank you. Yes, there are lots of ways of engaging with the forum. If you're an academic, we engage with academics a great deal. We actively look for academics with particular specialisms in this field. So if you think that you might be that person, always just drop us a line, and we can talk. As I transition to the new center, I will likewise be wanting to surround myself by experts. And so again, in the new role, I'd love to hear from academics. If you are a startup, the forum actually has a startup community. So if you're thinking of going that way, then that's another way of engaging with the forum. I think that we should definitely keep contesting what one vision for the world. We need to think about new visions for the world, whether that's creating new data for Indigenous persons, for example, around the world. So really we need to be very intentional about how we think about data, how we collect data sets, whether we need our own individual large language models. And I'm not by that suggesting that we create even more polarization, because I know there have been some suggestions that the far right should have its own model and things like that. I'm merely suggesting that if we can't hit pause, we actually come together and say, what future do we want to design for ourselves? And how is that compatible with the vision that we're being driven into? And if it's not compatible, what can we do? My name is Firth-Butterfield, and I am currently head of artificial intelligence at the World Economic Forum. But as from the 3rd of April, I will be the executive director of the Center for Trustworthy Technology, which is a World Economic Forum Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. I was happy and privileged to give a distinguished lecturer talk hosted by the Institute for Experiential AI. In my talk, I discussed responsible AI, is it worth it, and can it be achieved? Please check out the replay.
The Institute for Experiential AI is proud to invite you to our spring seminar series, featuring leading AI experts and researchers sharing cutting-edge ideas. You can expect AI leaders from a broad range of industries sharing perspectives on defining and applying ethical AI in our distinguished lecturer series, and EAI faculty and Northeastern University researchers discussing their AI research in our Expeditions in Experiential AI series. Registration is required, and the seminars are free to attend. We hope you'll join us for an invigorating spring semester.